Okay, so this is going to be a quick series of videos on Google Sheets. I'm not sure how many videos it'll be, but this one is for you folks who need some help with this, just the basics. So the first thing I want to cover is the very basics of Excel or Google Sheets, which is formulas and functions. So Excel is, or Google Sheets in this case, is very powerful. It's a very powerful calculator, and it can do lots of different things. And one of the really good things it can do is math or counting or anything like that. And the way we do any of that stuff is we press equals. And after we press equals, we will see this underscore looking thing with the cursor blinking. And we can type in anything we want, any function that we want. So if I want to add something and get the total, I can say sum, right? If I want to do a conditional sum, I can do sum if, right? Sum ifs, and that makes it depending on multiple criteria. So if I just want to do sum, I can do 2 plus 2. It'll tell us 4, all right? That's the very basics. If I have a set of data, right, I have this set of data and I want to know the sum, equals sum, and I can just I click on the first cell that I want and just drag down to the bottom and press enter. And there's my sum. If I want the average, I can do the same thing. Average. You can see average pops up, right? And I just go from first to last. Notice I left that one blank because it wasn't there. I don't want the average with 554. That's the sum. So I can do sum, right, or total, average. So that's the very basics there. If I have two sets of data and I want to do sum, I can do equals sum, the same thing. Or I can take this little box right here and just drag it over. And what it does is it copies the formula. So if you look up here, you can see that it just copies the formula over one box. All right, and so I can take this one and do the same thing. So that's the average of this column. So let's say I have a whole bunch of columns, right? And I want to just copy the formulas over. Well, I can do this. And it does the calculations for me automatically. Now, if I want to count the number of, so let's say count, or frequency. Let's say frequency. So if I want to count the frequency of, let's say, number 7, all right, so I would do equal count. Now I have to figure out which count is right for me. All right, so I could do count, which is just the number of numeric values in a data set. That doesn't seem right. I could do count if the range and the criteria. That seems like the right one, so I'm going to do my range. And I'm going to say that I want 7 as my criteria. Now here's the thing with Excel, well, Google Sheets really. So when this is open, if you're on Chrome, Chrome works best for Google Sheets. Obviously, it's a Google product. And you press the little question mark that was over here. Whoops. I can get detailed information about the function. Right, so count if tells me the example. Count if A1 to A10, so A1 is up here. A10 is down here, so they're talking about this whole range right here, A1 to A10. Right, so in their example, it's count if A1 to A10, any value is greater than 20. And then it returns a conditional count across the range. The range that is tested against the criterion is the range. That's this number right here, the first one. Criterion is the pattern or test to apply to the range. So I have 7. So B1 to B27 is my range. And 7 is my criteria. And I can see that there are 12 sevens. And if I go through, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And again, I can do the same thing across all of these. So I can see that there's 2 7s in this one. Yep, that seems right. And 12 7s again because I copied and pasted. And if I wanted to do that with any other number, I could. Right? So I could do frequency of 8s. I could do frequency of whatever. So one of the best ways to figure out what function you want to use is just click on this sigma sign up here. This funky looking E, right? Sigma. And they give you the most common ones. So these are the ones that I've used. Sum, average, count, and then max and min are math ones. All formulas will show you every formula possible. Array formulas are the things that you can do in arrays, and I'll talk about that in a later video. Database formulas, I'll talk about that later. Date formulas, engineering formulas, which you'll never use in education. Filter, I mean, maybe you will, but doubt it. Filter formulas, which of course you will use sometimes. Financial ones, Google formulas. So these are ones that are Google Sheets specific. They're not something you'll get in Excel. And I've used these a lot, like array formula and query formulas. Those are pretty advanced, so we won't get into those quite yet. And so you can do lots of these, right? So logical, if is logical, right? You can do lookups like VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP, and that'll be in like video 3 or 4. You can do count if. You can do operators. So there's a whole bunch of things, right? Some of these you'll never use. Some of these you'll use a lot. So this video, I just wanted to talk about the idea that there are formulas in a sheet and that you can use formulas to do different things. The different formulas are listed in here. And if you can't figure out, oops, that's filter view. If you can't figure out which formula you need, that's where the internet comes in. And you can just type in Google Sheets formula to whatever. And I guarantee someone has asked that question in the past. So you'll find it. All right, that ends that video.